So you've learned how to transpose songs the easy way, which is using a capo. But I want to tell you about what's going on theoretically behind all this. Because there's going to be some times where using a capo isn't really going to work. You may be way up here or something like that. So I want to show you how to do this in another way. You remember when we were applying numbers to a major scale. And let's just review this. In the key of C, we have this C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And if you applied numbers to it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That first is always a C, 1, and the D is always the 2, and so on. And that applies to any key. But let's stay in the key of C for a second. If you look at that next line down, well, you look at first line, you could see the notation going straight up. And you could see that first note is on just one line below the staff. That's a C. And if you look at the next one, it's a space, which is a D. Then the next one is another line. There's the E. Keep going up. You're going to see the next space is an F. Line space, line space. That's how this is working. So when you look at the third line, all I did was I took that low note, that first low note that you see, the C, you could see it's on a line, and I just added two other notes above it that are on lines, the next line and the next line. And you could see there, basically it's a C, E, and G, but right now you don't have to really memorize that. What I want you to memorize is this. When we harmonize a scale, which is what we're doing, we're taking each note in the scale going up, and we're just stacking two more notes. If it starts on a line, we stack up two more lines. If it starts on a space, we stack up two more notes on spaces. Now, you don't have to memorize that at all, but this is where it all leads to. The first chord in any major scale, and in the case is a C major scale, and C key of C, is always going to be a major chord. So if you're in the key of C, your first chord is going to be a C major. The second note in any major scale, but in the key of C, is always going to be a minor. In this case, in the key of C, the second note is a D. We have a D minor. The third note in any major scale is always also going to be a minor. So in the key of C, the third note is going to be an E, and we have an E minor. Now the fourth note, that's going to be a major again. So in the key of C, it's an F, F major. Fifth note is always going to be a major, in this case a G. The sixth note is always going to be back to a minor again, a minor. The seventh note is going to be a diminished chord, and that's going to be, in this case, a B diminished, which is basically played, you could play it like that. There's an F, there's a B note, a D note, and then we have a flat note. So here's the key. This is the formula for any major key. And this part you should kind of memorize. Major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. So the one is always going to be a major. The second note is always going to be a minor. Third minor, fourth major, fifth major, sixth minor, and diminished. This is seventh. So major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. Once you get that into your head, now we can start seeing how this applies to any key. Remember, when we did Going Down the Road Feeling Bad in the key of C, let's take a look at the chords that we used in the key of C. We used a C chord, the 1 chord, C major. We used the 4 chord. In the key of C would be an F. We use the 5th chord, which is always going to be a major, so we have a G. And then we use the 6th chord, which is always going to be a minor, the A minor. So those, if you know the numbering system in Going Down the Road Feeling Bad, it's always going to be the first chord, then the fourth chord, the fifth chord, and the sixth chord. Major, minor, minor, major, major, minor. So we can see the chords that we use. If you look at that next line, we can see we're using the C, F, G, and A minor. We'll get to the sevenths later, but don't worry about that. Now, if we transpose this to the key of G, well, we use the same numbering system for a G scale. So G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The one chord is always going to be a major, G. Okay, the second chord is always going to be a minor, so in this case, G, A. The third chord is also going to be a minor, in this case, G, A, B. Fourth chord, always a major chord, in this case, G, A, B, C. Fifth chord, always a major, in this case, G, A, B, C, D. And the sixth chord, always a minor, is going to be the G, A, B, C, D, E, so that would be an E minor. So if we're going to play Going Down the Road Feeling Bad, we just need to know that we're using different chords, but relative to the same song. So we have the G chord, going down the road feeling bad, and it goes to the 4 chord, which is a C. Going down the road feeling bad. Goes to the 4 chord, going down the road feeling bad, to the 6th chord, E minor. Back to the 1, G, the 5, the D, and back to the G. And this applies again to any major scale. So I'll give you one more example of how it applies to the key of D. Now, in the key of D, we're going to have 2 sharps. Remember that circle of fifths. In the key of D, we have 2 sharps, the F sharp and the C sharp. So if we're going, there's your D major scale. E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. The same major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished applies to that. So let's look at the numbers again. The 1 chord is always going to be in the key of D, a major. Now the 4 chord is always going to be a, a major again. So we have G, D, E, F sharp, G. The 5th chord, D, E, F sharp, G, A, is also going to be a major chord, in this case, an A chord. And the 6th chord, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, okay, is always going to be a minor. That's the 6th chord. In this case, it's a B minor. So if we were going to do this song, going down the road, feeling bad. Now we're going to go to the 4 chord, which is always a major. Going down the road, feeling bad. 4 chord, going down the road, back to the 1, bad, till bad. There's a B minor, the 6th chord. Then the 1, 5, 1. Don't wanna be treated this old way. So why would we transpose chords and songs in the first place? Well, one key may be easier to sing for you, and that's why people transpose songs. You know, in the big bands, the singer would say, I want to do it, and say Frank Sinatra wants to do the New York, New York in a different key. Well, the musicians already know, oh, okay, it's that number, so okay, we got the chords. They apply that major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, to any key. So that's how this works. In the next video, I'm going to show you how we use the 7th chords in there. That's going to be kind of important too. So we'll take it, and the next movie we're going to look at that.